back now. Just before our break, we were chatting technologies from a tyre perspective, and it's a message we need to drive home. Like, what we do in South Africa is world-class standards, but we have the ability to ensure that they work for local conditions as well. And a big part of that, and that's why I brought my next guest in, Merryl Ford, because she works for the CSIR, which a lot of people don't understand what that means, but Merryl, it's been around 1945. The government said this is a good idea that we create. Is it a technology hub?
It's a research, development and innovation research facility. It's actually 80 years old this year. It's our 80th anniversary, believe it or not.
It's a celebration that everyone should be a part of because, I mean, let's break it right down.
Yeah.
Why would government say we need to have an organization or a hub that is looking after how competitively we manufacture, that we've got cutting edge technology? Why would that be important?
Well, I mean, I think it's because of our mandate. So, I mean, we're not a typical commercial company trying to make money. I mean, our mandate is to do research, development and innovation in science, engineering and technology for the common good, for South Africans, for everyday South Africans out there. How can we make South Africa a better place by applying technologies, both within the private sector and also the government sector as well?
I don't know. I mean, like when you chat, like now, we're obviously talking at NAACAM. It's the automotive manufacturing, and I know every single OEM has an R&D center. It costs them millions of dollars, euros, whatever it is to develop. So, from a government perspective, what you guys are doing through CSR is you're able to do that research and development to kind of help upstarts, I guess.
Yes.
So, is that why it's important that CSR is here as well?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we've got round about 2,500 really clever people, all with PhDs and masters and, you know, electronic engineers, electrical engineers, climate scientists, you name it. So I think the power is that we've got in-depth knowledge, but we've got cross-cutting knowledge as well. So if you can pull all of those things together, you can come up with something that's truly unique and truly suited to the country.
That for me is the two, where you're going, I think the two biggest challenges we face right now. In the 80 years since it was started, things have changed massively. I mean, just the transformation, technology, digital. But the idea of how, where, what do we do, where do we start, it can be a little bit overwhelming. And I mean, I see you're a digital transformation specialist. So what does that mean? Do you help upstarts, and are you developing technology that can make that's a new future direction? Work on that, focus on that. Yeah,
well, I'm part of a cluster we call clusters within the CSR that focuses on manufacturing. I'm in a center called the Center for Robotics and Future Production, and we focus very specifically on how we can empower startups, SMEs, small manufacturers that are out there that are kind of know that they need to do something to be more competitive. They've heard about the 4R and Industry 4.0, but they don't have a clue how to actually even start.
Where do you start?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got what we call a learning factory, for example, which looks at advanced mechanisms to train people using AR, VR, robotics. We expose them to all of those kind of high-tech things that they won't necessarily get exposure to in their current jobs or in the industry.
Is there a way with something like this, with NAACAM now, we've got all the heads together, it's a proper think tank. Is there a way that through this everyone sits together and brings in, like CSR, says this is where we think the opportunity lies, what tech can we develop that we can localize in South Africa? Is that what's happening?
It is. I mean, there's a big initiative that we're driving right now called Galvanizer, and that's looking at the e-micromobility space. So, you know, basically we don't think there's much chance that South Africa can kind of compete with China in terms of starting to produce NEVs and things like that.
By NEVs, let's just qualify, it's talking about new energy vehicles, just so you know. And I'm glad we've moved away from EVs to new energy vehicles, because I mean, that is more sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, so what we're trying to do is we've come up with a concept. We're busy speaking to as many people as possible to help improve the concept. We have a workshop tomorrow, for example, where we're bringing in industry players, we're bringing in small manufacturers, etc., etc. But it's quite a unique concept, because what's happening at the moment is there's a nascent kind of e-micromobility industry already in South Africa. You know, the guys that 60/60 use, for example, for last mile deliveries, etc. But there's also a need in other places, for example, in game reserves, because they're very quiet, the vehicles. So we're talking 2, 3 and 4 wheeler small vehicles. They're called level L. So
like for the guy at home, like a tuk-tuk
Yes,
that doesn't
absolutely.
make noise and doesn't pollute.
Absolutely.
We see them running around here. I mean, they're working as shuttles.
Yes.
And I imagine even in our informal settlement, I mean, that's massive.
It's huge. I mean, what's happening at the moment is most of the small manufacturers in the country are actually just importing from China. And the problem is these Chinese vehicles, these small vehicles, 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, are kind of built for the Chinese environment. So they're not rugged enough for our roads. They're small, you know, our drivers can't fit into them, for example. And plus, you know, if something breaks, what do? You know, and it takes months to get here now as well. So what the CSIR is doing is we're looking at, you know, can we jumpstart a new industry in the country, looking at e-micromobility. Is this something we can develop in South Africa and export to the rest of Africa and to the rest of the developing world, where these are huge?
Well, I can answer that, because I mean, I just think about the Joule. I mean, when did we develop the first electric car? How many years ago was that? I mean, it's
more than 20.
It's crazy, and that is one thing that South Africans are good. We are innovative. I mean, we come up with great ideas, and we're also flipping resilient, and we don't know no. So this is a great opportunity, because I mean, you and I were chatting off camera. Like, I travel quite a bit to Europe, and obviously there are a lot of options there where it's trains, trams, which we used to have, which would be nice to have back, but also like Lime. You know, you hop on a little electric scooter, and when the battery runs out, I jump onto another one. We could create that. I mean, Lime would never work here because we're not geared up for scooter distances, but it could, within a township, informal settlement, really work well.
Absolutely. I mean, and there's huge opportunities for job creation as well. So,
and business.
Absolutely.
Because the guy then runs his own micro business.
I mean, the issue is we've got the capability, we've got the skills to do this kind of manufacturing. We can do it ourselves.
100%.
Okay. And what we're also looking at, you know, as the CSR is to kind of come up with a plug and play system. So if something breaks, you unplug it and you plug something else in. And that also helps kind of all of the smaller manufacturers, because they all manufacture these parts according to a standard. Okay, so anyone can actually participate. You're not stuck with a proprietary.
But I think that, for me, just to wrap things up, that for me is what is exciting, because, you know, I've sat at a lot of these industry functions where we're hosting panel discussions, and a lot of the question, where do we start? What is it? Can someone tell us this is the blueprint, this is how we do it? So it's almost like, there is it, you need to make that, you need to make that, and that makes the business happen.
Very, very, it's a very, very exciting opportunity. We're speaking to SEZs, we're looking at kind of all the advanced things. Like, you know, can we make it fully green as much and sustainable as much as possible? Can we put shared infrastructure into SEZs, for example? How do we support the township economy? I mean, for example, you could have young entrepreneurs providing charge and swap stations. So, you know, you ride your little, let's say, a 3-wheeler that you've changed into like a little delivery vehicle. You're running out of battery, you pop into your local swap and charge station, swap out the battery, and off you go again.
Like we do with gas.
Absolutely.
Our gas bottles.
Well, and in the future, it won't only be batteries, of course. You know,
100%.
We're designing these to be independent.
Merryl, thank you so much for your time, and I just love having these discussions that we actually sometimes forget just how sharp we are as a country, and maybe sometimes it doesn't get spoken about enough. So hopefully, using this platform with Nedbank Commercial Banking, we're getting that message out there that the clever people are thinking of clever things to ensure that localization remains key. Merryl, superstar, thank you so much. You guys don't go away. When we come back, we continue our discussions.